It's not on the website. It's on the email to your email. Okay. 7 o'clock. Very good afternoon, good evening to you all, and welcome here to the River City ARCS meeting for Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. My name is Carol, Kilo Pop 4 Mike Delta. I am your vice president, standing in here for James, our president, who had a conflict this evening, couldn't be with us. So he's entrusted you all into my hands. And I am glad to be here wearing the shoes of the president, kind of vice president here, which I haven't done for a while. Anyway, we have a really interesting program. Interesting program tonight. We're going to be going over, just giving you a report on the California State Fair Amateur Radio Exhibit, which has not been done in 21 years. And we had quite an experience, and I think we're going to really enjoy what we shared. And a lot of you here contributed to that effort, and we are truly grateful for that. But we're going to go ahead and start with some introductions. We're going to go around the room and see, maybe we could start on this table. Introduce yourself, please. I'll give you the microphone. You can pass it around.
Walter, K6HDD.
I'm Bob, November 6th, Papa Golf, Quebec.
Oh, Bob.
Is it on?
Bob, KF6 ABC.
Phil, KD6RM.
Jim, KF6JF.
Ken, KE6RMN newsletter editor.
Bill, November 6 Hotel Alpha.
Wilson, N6EMF.
Richard, WA0BIY.
I'm Hank, Kilo 6 Hotel Uniform Hotel.
Kilo 6 Zulu Golf Alpha Gert.
John Taylor.
Sylvia, Kilo Sierra 6 Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I am your treasurer.
It's Alan, Kilo 6 Alpha Golf Whiskey.
Tawny, Tango Alpha Whiskey November Yankee.
Glenn, KM6 RGQ. I'm Jay, November 6 Sierra Alpha Charlie.
Okay, thank you. We also have some people online here, so we'd like to, let me go down the list and see who we see on the screen here. How about Carl, N6 CKV?
Good evening, everyone. Carl, November 6, Charlie Kilo Victor in Wilton.
Thank you. And Tony.
Tony, KE6 IJF.
Welcome, Tony. And Mike. Mike, your microphone is muted.
Okay, maybe that sounds better now. This is Mike, November 1, Yankee Charlie November. I'm in Laguna West.
Thank you. And Mike, Tom, Whiskey 6.
I'm Tom, Whiskey 6 Beautiful Sacramento. Good evening.
Thank you. That's a lot of BS, right? Osatama.
I'm Osatama, Kilo November 6 Charlie Tango Papa, Sacramento, and Michelle's here also.
Kilo November 6 Whiskey X-Ray Romeo, Michelle, Sacramento.
Thank you, Osatama and Michelle. And we have Craig, who's off camera. Are you able to talk? Craig, Kilo 6 Juliet Golf Victor says he's not able to. So anyway, he is following us along here. Thank you very much. Let me, I'm going to go ahead and Share. I have a slideshow to help guide me here because I haven't done this in a long time. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay, it's sharing. Okay, the agenda for tonight, we did the welcome and introductions. Do we have a treasurer's and membership report? And are you going to share that on your computer, or are you just going to come up here and do that? Okay, I'll stop sharing so you can share. This is Sylvia going to be doing that. And Sylvia's sitting at the back of the room here, so she'll narrate. Let me get your microphone.
There it is. Let's see, I think most people can see that. Let's see if I can make it a little bigger. Oh, I'm showing my whole screen. Oh, well, just going to roll with it unless
Yep.
somebody objects.
It's just fine. It's just fine.
All right. So, the roster status as of yesterday was 124 active members and 65 expiring soon. I want to add that the expiring soon are in arrears for their dues this year. If you are in the expiring soon category, would appreciate it if you could kick in your dues, and if you can do it on Ham Club Online, that would be great. We had two renewals last month, and we had one new member, Frank Herrera, KI6BWN, and he's I think he's homebound, but I don't see him here. So I mean online. So we had repeater fund donations, Lawrence Upjohn, David Minke, and Frank Herrera also threw in some money for the repeater funds. So thank you so much for that. So the financial report is the day we did the board meeting. So I typically just do that one day a week to write the report out. So the total amount in the bank is $9,785.67. That was on Tuesday morning, July 22nd, of which the general fund is $5,744.54, and there are $4,041.13 worth of repeater fund donations. So our upcoming expenses, we have outstanding checks totaling $837. So a lot of this is back from a month or two because we had people out of town, the people who signed the checks, and the board decided to make some changes to that. So we're going to go to 3 people with check signing authority, with still keeping it as 2 people sign the checks. So that makes it a little easier getting checks signed when one of the designees is out of town. So especially since we tend to leave for long chunks of time. So I know I do. So so some notes. So Phil put together treasurer's audit tips, and Bill, K6HA, one of our board members. It's not? Oh, okay. Sorry. Tom said, I can't remember. He's either K6HA or N6HA. I thought I looked it up and it was K. All right, I'll change it. Well, he volunteered to try to audit, and the account and the processes. And so we'll go over and look at all the documents and where everything is stored and how we're all doing that in August or September. I will also put together a list of the club repeater assets and recurring costs. And Russ said he would look at it and add or remove anything that looked appropriate. But I'd like to get a list of our assets and get a better idea of the costs. So, and the Google Workspace charges are going up. And so that's something I want to look into to see how that actually impacts us. That's something new to me. So, and then lastly, so these are the categorical income and expenses. So it's a subset of the actual tally sheet. These are as of July 22nd, and it's a little behind because a lot of the older checks didn't get signed till this evening. So hopefully this will be more current, more up to date with the three signatories on the checking account. So if that's my report, if anyone has any questions, I am finished then.
Thank you very much for that. It's just pardon my awkwardness also because I haven't done the MC job here for a few years. Oh yes, in case I didn't mention, besides being vice president here, I am also your new ARL Pacific Division Vice Director. I'm in charge of ICE. Actually, it's a completely different task than what I did as section manager. I'm more involved now in actually the policy and the direction of ARL, not directly involved with the clubs and the membership in the field organization. And the new person you have doing that is here tonight with us, and he's going to be one of the presenters. That's Jay Ballinger, November 6th, Sierra Alpha Charlie. Okay, thank you. Let's get back to sharing my little screen here. And oh yes, I get to do my report, but I also usually got to share the screen here. Sorry. I know it's just a little bit awkward, but very important that we do maintain the Zoom presence out for the people who can't make it here, and it helps in our outreach as well. I usually like to talk a little bit about radio history because there is a saying, those who haven't learned their history are doomed to repeat it. But it's good to learn a little bit about the background that the people who really contributed so much to the advancement of the radio art. And August in radio history is renowned because that was the birth month of Lee DeForest. For those of you who are not familiar with this gentleman, he was born August 24th, 1873 in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which is right across the Missouri River from Omaha, Nebraska. And I lived in Omaha for 12 years, so I'm quite familiar with Council Bluffs. It used to be the home of World Radio Labs, which was a big manufacturer of radio equipment for many, many years. Leo Meyerson was the founder of that, W0GFQ, and I had the pleasure of meeting him while he was still alive. And my very first HF transmitter back in the 1970s was a World Radio Labs Globe Chief. So, yes, so it's a small world. Well, Lee DeForest did his PhD dissertation at Yale University on radio waves. That was back in 1899. And in 1906, he invented the Audion diode. Now, if you take a picture, take a look at that picture on the left. It looks like a standard light bulb, but with two wires coming out the top. Now, the Audion diode was he took that invention of Thomas Edison, which was the incandescent light bulb, and he stuck a plate, not contact in the filament, but just separated from the filament. And he found out that doing that, he was able to pass electricity in one direction, but not back in the other direction. And this was a tremendous invention. I mean, before that, they used to have the cat's whiskers galena diodes, but this was actually a system that was more dependable rather than having to look for a particular sensitive spot on a galena diode with a cat's whisker. Just 2 years after that, he made an improvement to this diode tube, and he put a little wavy little piece of wire between the plate and the filament, which he called the grid. And and that, say again? Fleming valve. Well, I'm not sure. I know that they both worked on this thing together, you know, but he invented the triode this way. And the big deal about that grid was that if you put a little change of voltage on the grid, it turned to a bigger change of voltage on the plate. So this was an amplifier, which really made receivers so much more sensitive than what we had in the past. So he made possible continuous wave transmitters, power amplifiers, and really tremendously advanced the science of radio. He had a total of 180 patents to his name. So that's Lee DeForest, inventor of the Audion. And now in August QST, this is an amazing issue. They have a number of interesting antenna articles. First, it was a multi-V compact 80 to 20 meter antenna, which is rotatable compact, dual band 160 meter off-center fed antenna, and a beverage antenna on the ground. So there's some good antenna articles in there. Product reviews, the rig expert, a new rig expert called the Match Upgradable Antenna and Cable Analyzer. The Long Island CW Club has a haptic CW decoder, and that's for people who can't hear, so they can put their hand on this thing and they'll feel the vibrations and be able to hear the Morse code dots and dashes through their fingers. That's what that is. And then Signal Stuff collapsible 2 meter and 70 centimeter open stub J pole antenna, which is great for, it collapses down to 16 inches. And then wherever you go, you can put it up on a tripod and have a J pole antenna. It's great for deploying. Also, the Venus DR4020 QRP digital rig. Again, that's strictly for digital modes, but and it's low power. And there's a whole special section on ham radio science citizen investigation. And the cover picture is those people that are working with the ham radio science citizen investigation, or HAMSci. And that is an awesome group. A lot of them are undergrad students, master's students in universities that are applying amateur radio to advancing the science of radio and propagation. And so we're contributing to the cutting edge of science and understanding what's going on with propagation, which we still don't have completely figured out. But that's a complete section in QST if you're interested in learning about what's going on there. Just want to remind you that our website, n6na.org, we try to keep it up to date with all the latest information. Just make sure you check that out, so you know what's going on around the area. Coming club and area events. Of course, we have the club breakfast in Brookfields on the 15th of August. Then we have our second breakfast on August 22nd. So far, we're going to continue to do 2 breakfasts because people seem to like that until we lose interest on one or the other. So that's what we're doing. There's going to be a board meeting on the 26th of August. We have our homebrew night on September 2nd, which is next month's meeting. And I know Bob Mix wants to talk to us a bit about homebrewing. He's going to have a presentation for that evening as well. And did you want to say anything about that right now? No, okay. He still hasn't figured out what he's going to say, but that's good. Not a problem. Okay, September 9th is another event coming up. This is brand new. This is the California Statehood 175th Anniversary Special Event. And I'm going to ask Bob to say a few words on that. N6PGQ, because this is his idea, is his brainchild.
Okay, you guys, there's a presentation tonight about the State Fair special event. And so if you didn't have a chance to go to the California State Fair and participate in a special event, your opportunity is coming soon. California is going to be 175 years old on the 9th of September. And even though the capital of the state was not in Sacramento, we have secured a spot on the Capitol grounds on that day and are going to be having a special event station. So put it in your calendar. You too can come and operate. We'll probably be on both 20 and 40. You can't put pegs in the ground or damage any of the trees or anything like that in the area. So we're going to have masts and pop-up tent and some tables and chairs. And so come out and join us there. It's the week after our next club meeting. So we'll twist everybody's arm then and see who can come. But make sure you put it on your calendar. It's coming up soon, and come and participate with us. The 9th of September 9th. It's a Tuesday.
Okay, thank you. And Gert did bring to my attention that we had some mistaken dates here for the breakfast. They're going to be August 16th and August 23rd. And I was able to correct those dates there up on the table in the meantime. Thank you. We're going to have our Nano VNA workshop, I believe sometime in September. Is that correct? Okay, so there is a date for that. I didn't have it for this slide, but we will. Okay, I will go ahead and we'll blast that out as an email to the club as well. And also the Western Placer Amateur Radio Club has their Hamfest in Lincoln in September, but they haven't set a date for that yet, and that's coming up real soon, so they're going to have to do that. October 4th is the Rockland Maker Fair, and that's a really great outreach event where that's sponsored by the Sacramento Valley section, and we invite multiple clubs to participate in that, and that always is a great outreach. We get a lot of young people there and a lot of really smart grown-up people as well. Come by and want to learn about ham radio. October 7th is going to be our White Elephant Night. It's going to be right here. I'm grateful that we were able to have a place where we were able to do that again. And then October 12th, 10 to 12 is going to be the PacificCon ARL convention over at the Marriott in San Ramon. And that is an awesome activity. I strongly recommend that you attend that if you have not ever done so. And if it's a problem with you staying Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because there's a lot of stuff going on and you want not to stay overnight, I would recommend at least you go on Saturday, because that's when the majority of the events are going on. There's a lot of seminars. They have classes and upgrade exams and vendors galore, and all different types of seminars going on at the same time that you can choose what you want to learn about and interact with other people that have a similar interest to yours. So let's go next. Okay, we already mentioned this about the California Statehood Anniversary, 175 years. Next year is going to be the 250th celebration for the United States. I guess they call it sesquicentennial. Nice fancy name like that. So ARL has some big plans for an event that's going to last throughout that entire year. So keep your eyes open for that. So we have a new picture here for others. August 9th to 10th, we're going to have the Maryland DC QSO party. August 16th to 17th, the ARL Earth Moon Earth contest, 10 gigahertz and up contest, and North American QSO party single sideband. August 23rd to 25th are the Hawaii and Ohio QSO parties. And August 30th to 31st is the Colorado and Kansas QSO parties. And if you want more information about these and the many other contests, smaller contests that are not listed, you could find that on contestcalendar.com. Reminder about our nets. Tomorrow night, we'll have our 2-meter net at 8 p.m. on the 145.25 repeater. And then we have our 10-meter net at 8:30 p.m. on 28.420 megahertz upper sideband. And at 9 p.m. we have our slow scan TV net on 441.30. And also that's live streamed on our YouTube channel. Link for that is on our website. Reminder that our roundtable net is every Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. and that's on the 7181 lower sideband on 40 meters. Here's some data on the check-ins we've had on our nets last month. And the nets are going really strong. 2 meters is always very well attended. 10 meters is a little fraction of that because I know some people don't have HF, but this is to encourage all of us to fire up our HF stations and to improve them. Slow scan TV is going every night. I don't have the first couple of weeks in the chart there because I was not available to work those because I was away. And Saturday, the Saturday net, of course, is constantly going very well, considering the propagation. And we're always open to get new net control operators. We have a very simple net scripts that you can follow, and it's a great way to get training, which is a skill that's useful for emergency preparedness. Reminder that our backup repeater net is going to be August 20th. It's always the third Wednesday of the month. And for that net, we use the same repeater pair on 2 meters. It's a repeater on the west side of the valley, and it's a different PL tone, 123 hertz. So make sure you have that programmed also in a channel in your radio. Website activity report for the month of July. We had a total of 953 page views for 30 per day over those 31 days. And the most views were 86 on July 2nd, which was the actual date of the last meeting. The most visited pages were the home page, the repeater page, a 2-meter net page, the about us page, and a 10-meter net page. And most of the views were referred by our search engines. 36% were direct hits to our n6na.org URL. Views by region, of course, most of our hits were from United States, 865. We had a few from Puerto Rico. I think part of that was because I was in Puerto Rico for part of that time, but I had also done some promotion to the local hams there about what was going on with River City ARCS. I'm sure we had some of those also checking on our website as well. And social media, our YouTube channel, we now have 610 subscribers. I went up 14 in the past month, a total of 1,076 views of our videos. And again, the main viewed video was the one we gave at our January meeting, was the introduction to the QRP Labs QMX Plus transceiver. And that is getting a lot of hits because they're selling a lot of those. It's really caught on. Facebook page now has 1,179 followers, and the Facebook group is pretty steady, as well as our Twitter page, and the Discord chat now has 48 members. And that's it. If you want to contact any of us here at the club, you want to bring anything to our attention, you can send an email to contact@n6na.org, and we will get an answer to you. We got some more business here. Elmering, yes. Oh.
The Nano VNA clinic is actually 2 nights in the month of September, and I believe they might be as much as 2 weeks apart. The first part of it is what's called the reflection mode. That's what your standard antenna analyzer deals with, the reflected energy and how you translate that into what the characteristics of your antenna are. The second part of it is called the S21 mode, the through calibration mode, which allows you to measure filters, feed lines, all sorts of exotic stuff. So each session's about 2 hours. It's all hands-on. It's not sit down and watch the slideshow. It's a hands-on thing. And there are all exercises. I built up all the lab equipment that goes with that. So you'll find a tremendous amount of utility.
Thank you very much, Phil. That's Phil, KD6RM, our Nano VNA guru, and an excellent teacher here at the club. So do we have a report from our Elmering people? No, I don't think Neil is here tonight. Oh, he's off doing some of his adventures. Does anybody else have any report about Elmering? Okay, well, we'll take a hiatus on that until maybe next month. Question, should we continue Zoom access to our meetings? We brought this up a couple times in the past, and some people have the feeling that having these meetings on Zoom is discouraging people from coming in person. That may be true. So there is a possibility that we may consider discontinuing that. We would continue having the cameras here so we can record the meeting and save them, and put them up on YouTube for later viewing, which is, it's a great educational resource for the community. But we haven't made a final decision on that one way or another. But we have sent a few surveys out, and the ones who respond to the surveys in general are in favor of continuing okay, Phil has a comment. I'll pass him the mic.
Amateur radio is actually a social engagement of a technical hobby. And if you don't believe it's a technical hobby, think about how hard you had to study to get your license. There wasn't a question about social activity on your ham radio test, was there? So when we come to these opportunities where we can sit in our own house and watch what's going on, it kind of takes away from that social activity, that interchange of personalities and ideas. And that's one of the things that's driving this concern. Have we shot ourselves in the foot by making access too easy? And that's the point you wish to ponder. Are we really missing out on some social engagement?
Thank you, Phil. I'd like to ask you, how about you people there online that are joining us by Zoom? Do you have any strong feelings one way or another if we should continue sharing these meetings by Zoom?
Please continue, N6CKV.
Nobody's saying it?
I would like it to continue.
Yeah,
I
go ahead, Carl.
Please
Go on, Carl.
continue.
Go ahead, Tom.
I'm not feeling well today, but I did want to participate, or at least to watch. And so I thought I would stream.
Tom, W6BS, did you have something?
I'm not being heard?
I can hear you, Tom.
Yeah, you were
All right.
breaking up.
All right. I'm not feeling well, so I thought that I would still participate by viewing. And I had to actually drive over the checkbook for the club and get back home. So I actually was there and back. It's nice. It's also close to our house, so it is actually convenient for us to get there when we can. But I'd like to Zoom.
I can understand that if you're ill.
I don't see a lot of people on Zoom today, so I think that you got most everybody that would want to do it live.
We have 13.
Yeah, but
Okay,
3 or 4 of them
I could see
are there.
Dave Reingold over there. I know he's in the Philippines. Yeah, Dave is over in the Philippines. He would not be able to attend if we weren't on Zoom. Hi to Dave over there in the Philippines. And Carl, were you saying something too? N6CKV?
Yeah, I'm a distance away, so down in Wilton, so I prefer it on Zoom.
Okay.
The club's repeater has a bigger reach than those that can easily transport themselves to the meetings.
Okay, yeah, it is definitely convenient for people who are very, very far removed from us. I can understand that. Thank you very much for sharing your feelings on that. The thing about continuing to 2 breakfasts per month, we're not, I think we're just going to continue with that for now until we see that there's a loss of interest in that. Holiday gathering survey. We sent out last month a survey to 188 people on Ham Clubs Online, and we got 36 responses to that. That was 19%. So I'm going to share the results that we had on that. One of the questions we asked was, what is your maximum acceptable meal cost? And the choices were $20 to $35, $35 to $50, or $50 to $65. And it looked like people were hovering right around between $20 and $50, and the number really went down when you were over $50. The reason we brought this question because one of the options that we had was a dinner at the Cattleman's restaurant, where they were quoting a price of $65 per person. And we weren't sure that this would be acceptable to a good majority of our members. And they wanted, in addition to that, they wanted a $1,000 deposit, which we would have to pull out of our treasury. And before we made any kind of commitment like that, we wanted to see what interest there was in that. So that looks like that is, it's not really a very popular option.
No.
So there are many other options that are available. We were thinking of possibly doing something over at Brookfields for dinner. Well, let me go to the next slide also. Yeah, this is the next slide. This was what meal times may you attend? And the options were breakfast, lunch, an early dinner, or a regular evening dinner. And it looks like the majority, again, are looking for a dinner, not a breakfast or a lunch, which probably works better anyway on a Tuesday, which is a weekday when people who are working are not generally available for breakfast or lunch. So that looks like the way we're going towards a dinner. So some of the options we were thinking about was maybe having a dinner over at the Brookfields. There's the good big meeting room down there on Folsom Boulevard. Now, they won't reserve the entire room for us, but we would be able to accommodate all of us in there and I believe probably do it well over there. And I think some people had some issues with the Black Bear Diner last time. One concern about that. So we still have a lot of time. It's still, what, how many months away? It's 4 months away. But we're going to have to make a decision now. Yeah, we're going to have to make a decision quick. So at least we have an idea what kind of price range we're looking for, and we will get the word out. We're going to have a executive meeting of the board later this week to make a decision on that. Okay? Very good. And I think we're going to maybe go into the issue of going to our presentation about the California State Fair at this point. Okay, Sylvia has raised her hand. I will give her the mic.
I just want to make sure everybody knows there are sodas and sparkling water and Gatorade all cooled down in the ice chest. Please partake of one or two if you would like to. And there's also chips.
So,
And I brought some gluten-free peanut butter cookies. They're pretty crumbly, but they're also available there. So enjoy. I don't know where the sign up sheets over
we
there.
take a break. Let's go ahead and take a break so we can stretch and have some refreshments, and we'll come back for our presentation. How's that?
Okay. Yeah, because a couple, 3 people haven't signed up for the head count. I think it's girls.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Also, I brought some recently printed badges, so you may or may not be in the pile over here. figured it was appropriate. Jam it in between some of that.
Okay, that's because I have to put it on here. Friday. Oh. Wanted to make sure they were. Someone. I really did. Because she was behind me. This way. On one or the other camera. Yeah, and then. Most of the. Maximize, Carol, to maximize the speaker versus audience, you better.
That's fine.
Back
Sure.
enough so I can pan the
Sure.
speaker to the camera.
Okay, sure. I'll stop it. Okay. Find a little preparatory stuff. Yeah, I don't know. That's not looking. Okay. We ready to resume? Okay, QST, we are going to resume. Okay, very good. Very well. We had a wonderful break, and now we're going to go ahead and get on with this. This is going to be an exercise in sharing our experience in setting up this exhibit, a public outreach. The section has previously done single day, at least during my tenure, which was I was 10 years as your section manager. We were doing single day type of outreach events like the Rockland Maker Fair, that sort of thing, field day, which is pretty much just a one-day event, 24 hours. And this is the first time that we have undertaken a much more prolonged public outreach event. We realized that there was going to be some challenges in getting this accomplished because we needed a lot more resources to do this sort of thing. Pretty much. I almost lived there. That's right. Anyway, this would not have been possible without the participation of many individuals and many different clubs that were invited to participate and make this all possible. So thank you so much for all of you who participated. And my clicker, I see what I have to do. Okay. This was pretty much the announcement that we put out that it was July 11th to 27th State Fair. We were going to have a special event station, which you got the call sign K6C for. We asked people to stop by and visit the amateur radio booth. And also you could activate the special event call sign from your own QTH during the hours that we weren't at the booth. And we did have a sign up for that. There we go. Oh. Okay, we just have a little bit of not. I think we're having okay, it's just having a little bit of slow Wi-Fi here. Yeah, it's really slow to catch up. Tell you what, I'm going to stop sharing and reshare again and let's see if it picks up better. Okay, just have a really slow Wi-Fi here. Sorry about that. Okay, how this all started. Last year, I had a suggestion from Russ Brill, KN6SD. All of you may know him. He's the trustee of our club. He's the club trustee for the license N6NA. And he said, it was a few weeks before the 2024 State Fair, and he caught my ear and he said, why don't we do a booth over there at the State Fair? Well, it turned out that it was really way too late to do anything. We only had like a couple of weeks, and there was no way that we could get everything together. So I said, no, maybe we could maybe do it next year if we have enough advance notice. So sure enough, this year, April 16th, Russ gave me a call, again, suggesting this exhibit at the State Fair. And I said, okay, I'll look into it. We'll have to see what's involved, how you do this, and what kind of resources that we have to be able to pull this off. So that next day, I emailed an inquiry to the Sacramento area radio clubs to see who would be interested in supporting a fair exhibit. And we generally got positive responses from the major radio clubs in the area. We sent to the board of directors and the presidents of all the different clubs, and they were interested. Of course, I mentioned that it would be a great opportunity for people to promote their clubs as well as reaching out and promoting amateur radio in general to the public. Some were a little bit skeptical about it, not thinking that perhaps that the fair was not really an appropriate venue for that sort of thing. And I can understand if you just imagine being a concerts in the Midway and stuff, but we also have places where there are opportunities to do demonstrations and interact with the public. So let's see if I can advance it and see if it works. Here. Okay. So waiting for the slide to catch up here on the Wi-Fi. So the next thing I did after I got all those positive responses was I reached out to Jay, who's here, N6SAC, who is the emergency coordinator for Sacramento County Areas, because I was aware that he has excellent abilities to recruit people for a lot of the area's activities that go on around the area here, and very well organized, and he's very successful in doing that sort of thing. And Jay was very kind to step right up and say, yes, I'd love to assist with this. So he emailed his Aries team and he set up a sign-up form on sacramentoaries.org, and that was on April 25th. And really rapidly, he had a bunch of responses there. There were over 30 that responded within a few weeks. And I'm seeing that and I say, hey, this is very, very promising. That it looks like we'll be able to do this. Okay. So on the 23rd of April, I went ahead and submitted a request for a special event call sign K6C, and sent an announcement to QSG to get into the published list of special events in the July issue of QST. We just got under the deadline because at that time you had to get it by 2 months prior or 3 months prior to the month. So at the end of April was the deadline to get that in, and we did get that in time. And then on the 28th, I submitted the application for the booth to Cal Expo, and I included supporting documentation about our previous outreach events. And that's kind of important because, you know, we're coming out of the blue. They didn't know anything about, they've never had, I get, and those people who are working there now probably never had exposure to amateur radio at the fair, and they had no idea what we were up to. So I sent them pictures of our previous booths that we had, for example, at the Maker Fairs, and just showing the interaction with the public so they can get an idea of what we do. And I did a search on the internet. When was the last time we had an exhibit here or a special event station at the California State Fair? And it shows that it was in 2004. This was in the ARL letter, and it was a special event station of 1 day duration on a Friday, November 6th, Sierra, in front of the pavilion at the California State Fair. And that was a group calling itself the Amateur Radio Emergency Communication Volunteers. And they were on 40 meters and 20 meters and also on 2 meters. And they welcomed visitors. From what I understand, it was not a very pleasant experience because they were out in a very hot day and they had no air conditioning. And Bob was there. So Bob, would you like to just tell us a little bit more about your experience there?
We were out there for just 1 day. It was on the asphalt just to the north of our building, where there are a few rides and people selling hot tubs and things like that. We were there also on Armed Services Day, and so we were next to the Navy recruiters and the Marines doing pull-ups and all those kind of things. It was a 1 day activity, and it was hot.
And you didn't consider doing any more than 1 day? That 1 day was enough? That's all they decided to do back then. But thank you very much for sharing that. And, but I sent a copy of this over to Cal Expo, so they were aware that this had been done in the past, that it wasn't something that was completely out of the blue that would not be appropriate for a state fair. So this was the application. I sent the application form and then I added this as a cover letter. The ARRL, a nonprofit national association representing volunteer amateur radio operators throughout North America, wishes to provide an exhibit demonstrating the art and the science of amateur radio communication at the state fair. Our exhibit affords the public rewarding and enjoyable hands-on experiences in amateur radio communications and are well received at regional maker fairs, STEM expos, and other public events, which we have participated in. And our web search confirms that that your fair had hosted such a special event in the past, with a link to that. So that's what I sent. And that was, I believe that was on a Friday. And Monday, I immediately received a response from Cal Expo. They accepted our application. They seemed to be very enthusiastic about it. And they said, well, the form that I applied for was going to be for a tiny little kiosk where one person could demonstrate some kind of a craft or something, and that would not be appropriate. We needed more space, and they could tell that from the pictures they saw of what we did in the Maker Fair. So they assigned us a much larger space with much greater public exposure in Building B, and thankfully it was in air conditioning. So they do require a liability insurance rider for these sort of things. You can understand they want to make sure that we're covered in case anybody gets hurt. And fortunately, the club was able to provide a copy of the ARL club insurance, which covered all of the liability for this particular exhibit. And that's one of the great benefits of having that ARL club insurance. And that covered that. They also required the Megan's Law screening for all exhibitors. And that required you to give your full legal name that's on your driver's license, your driver's license number, your birth date, and I think your zip code. And most people that wanted to really participate in the exhibit went ahead and submitted that to us, and we handed that on the form. We did it all confidentially. I did get one complaint from one person saying that this is legal, illegal. I said, that's fine, but I don't have any choice in the matter. Cal Expo wants to cover themselves and make sure that there aren't any registered sex offenders working with in an exhibit where they're working with children, because there are a lot of children that are attending the fair. So that's the reason for that. So we had then planned to do the scheduling. That was another challenge. July 11th to July 27th, a total of 17 days. And I contacted John Litz, NZ6Q. At the time, he was the vice director of the Pacific Division, and he had, in a previous year, done a sign-up sheet online for activators of W1AW/6 for volunteers on the air. And he had done such a good job with that, and it worked so well. I said, great. I contacted him, I said, could you do something like this for this special event? And he said, absolutely. And he was really gung-ho on helping us out there. I expected we would only be able to do the weekends because, you know, it's asking a lot for 17 whole days, you know, to have some people show up. But due to the tremendous response that Jay had on his form, I said, okay, let's open it up for all the days. And the week nights, evenings were Monday through Thursday. It started at 4 p.m. and it closed at 10 p.m. None of us ever stayed until 10 p.m. because that time was more of the outdoor activities like the concerts and the rides and things. So generally, we would close inside the building, our exhibit, sometime between 7 and 8 when the traffic was really kind of like petering out. So we did open it completely for the 17 days, and we were able to cover all that time. There was a little bit of a mix-up, and we didn't realize we had some problems that that Cal Expo gave us a deadline of having June 30th to have everybody signed up. And then they told us afterwards, oh, if you want to have people after that time to sign up, it's possible. Well, by that time, it was already too late really to get the word out so that people could change the schedules and more people come during the weeknights. But the weekends were pretty well attended there at the booth. Tony Marson, who at that time was also the Pacific Division Director, did assist us with publicity to the other California sections because this was a statewide endeavor. We wanted activators in their homes anywhere in California to participate, so they were able to get the word out to all parts of the state, and also other neighboring areas like down San Joaquin or the Bay Area that might have wanted to come and actually physically work at the exhibit too. So we got the word out all over the state. Next. Okay, on May 8th, we had a site survey. We definitely didn't want to go sight unseen. We wanted to see what was there. So I contacted John Litz was able to come with me. We took a look where the building was and where we were going to be located, and we took a few pictures. We looked around. That's the area that we were in. It was underneath a staircase going up to the mezzanine. And I don't know, it kind of didn't look too promising. And what the real challenge that we thought was how we're going to get an antenna that works on HF, because this building is like a Faraday cage. It is completely enclosed in metal roof, metal walls, and the only openings there are some glass doors. There's up on the mezzanine, there's some low glass doors, and there's some down on the ground floor as well. And that particular day, I brought a portable HF receiver, trying to listen to see if we could hear anything inside the building, and it was dead, absolutely dead. And if anything, what you heard was RFI from all of the LED lights that were lit around there. We went up to the mezzanine, and we went out those glass doors. We went in the walkway up there, and we were able to pick up WWV there somewhat, but it was not really an ideal location to put an antenna that we saw. And those are some of the other pictures that I took. This is the pictures on the bottom are looking up on the mezzanine that's above the ground floor that we were on. And you can go out through those glass doors there and walk over to the left, and there was like a little railing that you could possibly put an antenna on, but it was like maybe a vertical or something. It was not going to be an ideal type situation. And we needed somebody else to think about antenna options to do this. And That's when Jay came, June 25th. And he is a can-do person, I have to tell you. Absolutely a can-do person. I don't want to take away his thunder. So I'm going to pass it over to Jay and let him carry on here. I'm going to stop sharing. There we go.
All right. Good. That works. Amazing. All right. So let me give you the rest of the story. When she first contacted me, I was all about, do we think we can get enough people to support doing maybe an afternoon? We had the original idea, the same thing. What if we just operated one day out at the state fair? And it quickly grew beyond that. So the story of this kind of goes in different phases. What if we, those are dangerous questions. Could we? What if we did this? Talk about our plan versus reality, building the station, staffing the station, which she's talked about a bit, and then rewarding visitors for the station. So what if we operated from the California State Fair? That was just the question she asked. Do you think we can get enough people to do it? So yeah, I put a survey out with our Aries folks because we're always doing different events and yeah, there seemed to be interest. That was just kind of threshold number one. Would there be enough interest to do something like this? It looked like there was. I was like, all right, well that works. But that wasn't the whole plan. That was just, does it look like there's enough people? And she's given you the work so far of submitting that application. I don't think she was done clicking send on the email when they replied and said, yeah, we're going to upgrade you and we're going to do this and this and this and this. And it turned into kind of a bigger challenge. But as soon as somebody asked, can we operate from the state fair? 1 million questions come up. Well, okay. Has anybody done this before? Yeah, we did it 11, 14 years ago, whatever. Okay. How should we operate? Is it going to be like a contest? Are we going to try to make as many contacts as possible? Is that really the goal? No, we're really there to talk to people. Is it going to be hot because the fair's in the summertime? Right. We had 1 million questions that we didn't have the answers to, but we had faith and we agreed to recognize it's going to be a little bit of chaos, but we're going to embrace the chaos. And the way we embraced it and survived it was kind of divide and conquer, and hopefully we cover everything. We might even overlap, and that's okay. So you've heard a lot of cast of characters in this so far, right? A little bit of promotion help from Tony, a lot of work by John, a lot of work by Carol, help with me, James Goldstein as well. We were kind of there at the beginning, and nobody asked anybody else, should I do this? If something needed to be done and you could do it, just go do it and organize it, and we'll figure it out as we go. So there was a little bit of chaos, but we embraced the chaos. It was quite all right. The plan was just one afternoon in a public space. Again, the state fair couldn't have been more excited to have us come and operate. And I don't know if they'll do this every year, but they waived the fee for us to operate there as well. If you're going to be an exhibitor and have a booth for the entire length of the fair, there's a charge for that, right? All the snake oil salesmen upstairs from us who are selling the Ginsu knives and all that good stuff, they have to pay to be there. They said, we're going to give you this primo spot in an air-conditioned building for free, and we'd like to see you every single day. And we're like, we thought we were signing up for an afternoon, and now we got to try to do this for 17 days. All right, that's cool. So the plan versus reality, this is that space she was talking about. So in, the buildings with those tall spires kind of down at the end where the stage of the hypnotist, I miss that guy, used to operate, that's the fine arts buildings down there. And there's photography stuff and there's artists. And this was the original application, was just some corner of one of the buildings. If you're an artist, you can demonstrate. And we're like, we'll just do this. We'll just set something up. The doors are right nearby. We'll just run a feed line to some antenna outside or something for a couple hours. No big deal. Yeah, and they came back really quick, and you saw the pictures of where we ended up. They're like, no, we want you over here. Okay, so the plan was to operate for the afternoon, but they moved us. She's already pointed out where building B was. And you saw the pictures from the site visits, and those brought up more questions. What kind of antenna are we going to have? Where exactly are we going to be? How do we get a feed line to the antenna? Is there power? Or are we going to have to run everything off of batteries all day? We were told there was air conditioning. We were hoping it was going to work well. I wasn't sure. We were told there was going to be Wi-Fi. Turns out there wasn't Wi-Fi, but we dealt with that. Drinking fountains and bathrooms. Okay, now they're talking. Now we've got something that we can use. All right, so problems with reality. What are we going to do about an antenna? What are we going to do to schedule our operators? And how do we make this work every single day for 17 days? Because we had not really planned for that. But wait, there's more. What if we turn it into a special event station, right? So Kilo 6 Charlie, as Carol was describing, got approved and assigned to us for the California State Fair, which is cool, but it comes with some responsibilities. They expect logging and QSL cards and some kind of reward for the visiting stations, and even a little bit of a reward for the operating stations to be able to operate as a special event station. So this also upped the ante for us of, okay, now we've got even more to do. Instead of just operating for a couple of hours on an afternoon, now we've got 17 days with multiple operators, multiple bands, multiple modes. We had no idea how many QSOs we're going to have, but we had to do something about QSL cards, we're sure. We didn't know what we were going to do, but embrace the chaos, and we kind of worked through it. Having a special event website or something that explains the special event station was important. And a late entry that got solved really quick, very nicely, thank you, was the QRZ page. So at least when you're making a single sideband contact with somebody, you can say, hey, more information about how to get your QSL card, find us on QRZ. It's usually enough for somebody to be able to go find you. And if you're working FT8, they probably guessed and went and looked at QRZ. And so there was a nice page there set up with a link to our special event station website to where they could actually download their QSL card. So that was nice. Talked about the cast of characters that we had. John, Carol, me, James, and that was just the beginning. It turned out there was a whole army. Some of you here were there to help operate the station or to operate from your QTH as well. So this was embracing some of the chaos, was having so many people pitch in and help out. We did have a Zoom meeting where we kind of described, here's how we think this is going to work. And I must have said 100 times, this is the 1.0 beta, let's try it version, and we will guarantee do better preparation next year. Because you see how we kind of kept getting ramped up. We thought it was an afternoon, now it's an entire 2 weeks, and a different building than we expected, and a lot was going on. Special event station now. Things kept ratcheting up, and we would scramble, might be the right word, to keep up and be prepared for when the fair opened. I kind of had it marked on the calendar, big red star. This is the deadline. This is when the fair starts. You got to be ready. And we were ready enough. It actually got really good by the end of the fair. We had it down right when the fair closed. But for a while there, we looked like we knew what we were doing. And I'll show you some pictures and some good examples there. So that was nice. But this was a team effort by a lot of people. And now that we've done this 1.0, we do want to do it again next year. The whole idea was not let's just one and done, but let's do it again. Let's make it a habit. Let's do it every year. It could be a marquee event for us. Now we know what to expect, and we can be better prepared next year. All right, so building the station. It was that June meeting time and actually figure out what we can do. And I'm walking around. I've been to, we've grown up here. We've been to Cal Expo, I don't know how many times. You're familiar with Building B, that's over there. But to walk around it looking for feed line, you're very familiar with the building, but figuring out a feed line path is way different. So we went back, took some pictures. I did some crayon drawings. I know it's hard to see on there, but there's like me drawing on the picture. Well, I think the coax can go here, and it can go here, it can go here, and go here. And a lot of this was so that we could convince the state fair people to let us on the roof. Kind of, I don't know, I had a gut feeling that getting on the roof might be a no-go. I didn't know how accommodating they were going to be to do this. So we found a little gap between the doors. It was running under here, it was running over there, then up the side of the roof. And you can see in this picture here, the original idea was to have the feed line come up the roof and just put that, some kind of horizontal antenna over there on the side of the roof. Sent that into the fair people, the fair folk, I called them. And they replied back right away, sure, no problem. I was like, really? You understand? I want up on the roof. I'm going to put a couple of masts up there, non-penetrating. I'm not going to hurt anything, but I'm going to be crawling around the roof. They're like, yeah, that's fine. Okay. So started to think of what kind of antenna to use. A few options came up. One that I had used successfully for some POTA activations was an infed half wave. Thought, well, it's super simple. It can be on a little shorter mast, not maybe as good as a inverted V dipole, but I may not be able to get it that high. I needed to survive for 2 weeks was another one. What could I put up there that I didn't have to go climb up there every day to reposition, repair, tip it back up, or anything like that? So infed half wave with some non-penetrating masts that, and you've seen these on buildings before, right? They're weighted down by concrete blocks or sandbags or something nice and heavy. And that's what we ended up using. So get a couple of those masts, make the mast a little bit higher with some PVC, infed half wave. That was good. 10, 20, and 40 meters. 15 would work as well. And then how long of a feed line? Luckily it's HF. It's not VHF. That would have been a little bit harder to accommodate, but measured it out. 225 feet of feed line to get from where we were up to where we were on the roof. It's like, well, all right, RG8X was a compromise, but it's thin, so I could hide it. It's very flexible, so if I had to go around things, through things, and the PL 239 at the end, right? Make sure I didn't try to go through any holes that were smaller than that, so I could feed this thing through. And that was building the station. I said, all right, I can get an antenna up there. I can get the feed line down to our booth. Then what? In the discussion on that Zoom meeting, we started describing, well, just bring your own rig. There was some storage here. It's kind of up to everybody if you thought it was safe enough to store your stuff there. It turned out it was fine. But if we had a bunch of obvious expensive radio equipment sitting around, we wouldn't want to tempt anybody because from those stairs, you could actually look right down into the storage area. So we wanted to look non-interesting down there. So we didn't want a lot of things. So recommended bring your own rig for the day, kind of like you're going out to field day. The antenna will be there. There's power, luckily. So just bring a power supply, bring your rig, off you go. And so somebody said, well, then that means the booth is going to be different every day. Like, yes, that's embracing the chaos because that's a good thing. It's not just going to be the same boring display every day. Not that the fairgoers are coming back every day, but it's okay if it's different. Different operators, different rigs, different modes, doing different things. That's totally cool. And I think that's when people started to figure out this could be a lot of fun. It would be like a series of 17 field days, however many of those days you wanted to adopt on your own. So that worked out all right. Next part was staffing the station. We had two ways we were going to staff, and we were using John's spreadsheet that she described for being able to sign up. One sign up was to come operate at the fair at the station. This is where folks were kind of getting a little freaked out. They thought they're like this. So this is like a contest. We want as many contacts as possible. I'm like, well, it's a compromise antenna. You're really there to meet the people. So yeah, we want to operate, want to show people what we're doing, but it's not a contest. You're going to be expected to actually talk to people, strangers who are walking up to your booth, and you need to engage with them and be a hi, smile. So they started to get the idea from that. Other hours when the fair wasn't open, you could operate from your QTH. And that was a lot of fun. We did get some people who read the spreadsheet wrong and doubled up on some modes on some days. It was it wasn't perfect, but it worked out pretty well. Kind of on your honor system. If you were a California person, at least you had a 6 in your call sign. That was good enough. And so it worked out pretty well. We did have operators from San Diego to Redding, which was great because this is the California State Fair. Even though there were a couple of county fairs that were going on in Southern California at the same time. But so staffing the station was its own challenge, a little chaos, but people knew what to do, and they stepped up and stepped forward, and they operated quite a bit. So we were very happy with that. The scheduling is something we'll work on more for next time. Some folks felt, you heard Carol talk about we thought there was a hard cutoff to getting folks signed up to get passes to come to the fair physically, because you still needed to park and you still needed a ticket to get in. The parking was literally almost a mile away from where you parked. They don't even use it as a parking lot the rest of the year. It's just the field over by the river. In the fair, they'd say, oh, it's our auxiliary parking lot, lot Z, yay. It's quite a hike from there. And you still need a ticket to get in. And so we had a finite number of those until the fair people were very accommodating. And they told Carol, oh yeah, if you need more, just let us know. Well, that was after we had already kind of had the schedule set. So we're like, okay, well, we'll learn that for next year. And so there was scheduling is something we'll do better next year now that we kind of know what to expect. And there were some folks who were interested only in working from their QTH, which was fine because that's kind of kept the excitement going all day long. All right, now we needed to reward the visitors, the folks who operated and made contact with Kilo 6 Charlie. We talked about QSL card. It's like, well, do we print QSL cards? Then how many of those we're going to print? How fancy do we want them? And we got to mail them out. I'm a computer nerd, so I'm like, you know what? I'll make a program to download your own QSL card. But I wanted to make it legit, not just, plug in your stuff and it prints out and anybody can create a QS. I wanted to come from a real QSO that came from a real log. So I settled on the ADIF format. It's pretty simple format, kind of like XML, but easy to read. And there's a bunch of fields you can pass in the log file, but there's only a very small handful of fields you have to have that every logging software seems to include all the basic ones. So I'm like, oh, I'll just settle on that. So part of our website is you uploaded your log file, and it kept a running tally of who's uploaded, which bands and which modes and the count. And we got a pretty long list after a while, which was very cool. I took the salient points from each one of those data records, hashed it if you're into, and created a key. And that was the key to get your QSL card. And so I knew it was working when people were emailing me saying, hey, I worked Kilo 6 Charlie yesterday and I can't download my QSL card because the website would say I haven't found it. Now the website did say, if it's not here, give us a minute. We still have to upload log files probably. There were some folks who thought they would just upload one big log file after 17 days. I'm like, yeah, that works, except for the people who are emailing me asking where their QSL card is. And they're like, oh, okay. So that was another communication point. We'll do better next year, is to upload that daily. And that seemed to work. Once that kind of flowed and people got used to it and uploaded, I made sure that if you accidentally re-uploaded a log file, it didn't duplicate anything. It just, and then folks started downloading their QSL cards, and that was great. So it was good to see that. We got some reciprocal QSL cards that Carol scanned or took pictures of and put them on our photo album. So New York, Oklahoma were a couple of spots there. That was very, very, very cool. And so that was fun, building the EQSL thing. And I wrote it in such a way we can use it again. It's something that can be used for other purposes. If you were at the fair, John also had some oscillators there to practice Morse code. And that was a hit with everybody, young and old. They would come up and just beep, 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 beep. I mean, it was the coolest thing. There was a sheet, to write your name and write out your own dits and das, and then practice with that oscillator. And people wanted that piece of paper to take home because they thought it was so cool. It was the simplest thing, but it was tactile, made sounds. It was personal to them because it was their name. They thought it was cool. That was a lot of fun. Our visitors seemed to fall in one of three buckets. Bucket number one, my license go years ago, and so they would just want to come and relive the old days and talk ham radio. That's all right. Bucket number two were current amateur radio license holders who would come and check out the station and talk about their station and stuff like that. A lot of them were VHF only, 2-meter kind of operators. And that kind of tied in with the third bucket, which are people who are curious. And they're curious because they heard it's good for emergency communication, but they don't know how and they don't know why. They just heard, well, if things happen, ham radio. And they were a fun bunch to talk to because they were actively looking for information. They were actively looking for, well, what can I do and how do I get started? And I had my Amazon special $30 Baofeng with me to show, go take a test, $30 on Amazon, you're in the club. That easy. And that's how you start. And then you can communicate repeaters around town, and then you'll grow from there. But that alone got a lot of people excited of just talking about how to start and why to start. And then we would point at the HF rigs behind us and talk about the propagation and things like that. But their picture of ham radio was their grandpa's, big boat anchor sitting on the desk, not realizing that just an HT is ham radio and perfectly usable everywhere here in town, and it's low barrier to entry for them. So it was that outreach part of our booth very much worth even being there for the 17 days, because that surprised me more than I thought it would. And it was the most satisfying to be able to explain that to them. It was very cool. All right, some of the numbers about the station. We operated for 17 days while the fair was open. We were there a couple of days early so I could set up the antenna. We tested the antenna. It was low SWR across. And the day we were there, so the first day she was there, she brought a portable HF transceiver to try to listen. Didn't hear anything. That's why we did the infed half wave up on the roof. The day I installed that, I did bring an HT. And I hit all of the local repeaters, no problem. That's because there was nobody else there. From inside the building, I hit all of the repeaters just fine. Everything worked great. The day the fair started and run throughout the fair, there was so much noise and RFI and motors running and everything else. It made VHF communication difficult. So if there were times trying to check into the net from there. It was hard. There's a lot of background noise. We had a tree climber demonstration right across from us, and their stereo goes to 11. So every time they had their presentation going on, they cranked the music and were talking loud. They had kids climbing 50 feet up ropes. It was really cool, but it was noisy. So there was times it was too noisy to do anything. But the RFI and just other noise in there made it more difficult to operate than we expected. So another thing we'll remember for next year is to have an effective VHF. I don't think 225 feet of feed line for VHF is going to work well. Unless, well, we could do LMR 400, but that's also hard to handle. Anyway, that's something we'll have to figure out for next year is more effective. We had 24 different operators. At least I had 24 different unique call sign submit logs. That's how I'm counting as operators. So over 2,500 QSOs, which is really good. Anybody want to make a guess at the most popular mode? That's a band. What about a mode? FT8. Oh my goodness. It's like it was the vast majority. Of course, it's the easiest. You could even do that from the fair effectively. So it worked really well. So FT8 was king. We had 9 different bands with QSOs recorded, which is great. And 10 different modes, including FT8, single sideband, CW. Yeah. So that was, I think, pretty successful from that perspective. What time we got? Oh, perfect. So I'm sure you have questions still. We wanted to give you the background, but we also want to talk more about it, be able to answer your questions, get your feedback, particularly because now you're not going to hurt our feelings. We knew this was 1.0 and we want to do better next year. So if you've had experience or had feedback, lay it on us. We already have one. Come on.
Well, I didn't go to the fair. I wanted to, but I looked where building 2 was on the map that was online, and I saw it was nice and close to the cannabis experience. Were there people bouncing back and forth between the cannabis experience and the ham radio station?
Yeah, so he was saying, yeah, I think new this year for the fair was this cannabis pavilion. Yeah, it was a big tent of a pavilion, and you could, I think, purchase and consume there. And we had a lot of interesting people come by our booth. A lot of people who they heard us talking, but I'm not sure they heard us, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So we were close to that. Didn't really have any smell from there, which was nice. We were far enough away. But yeah, there were some people coming over who were just having a good time.
Yeah, one of the type of people that came over, he saw the Baofeng, went straight to the Baofeng. And I was sitting next to him, and he said, what about this frequency 420.050? I said, what's going on down there? I said, oh, what do you use that for? And he says, oh, I'm onto racing. Oh, do you have a license? Let's not ask about that. So yeah, people with Baofangs, we know they're sold out on Amazon and people use them for all sorts of things that are really not legit. But I tried to convince them, try to get a license if you're going to do that.
Yeah, that was a big part of the promotion was lots of different ways to study for the test. But I explained there were 3 tests and they just give you more privileges. But the first one, pretty straightforward. That and an Amazon special and you're in the club. So it's very much a go study, get your license, get your transceiver, and then that's just the beginning. You're not done. You're just starting. And that got people excited. Explaining this is a lifelong hobby. There's so many nooks and crannies, so many more things to learn all the time. And that got people excited too. More questions, feedback?
Let me pass you my.
So I was online looking at the schedule for the operators. And I couldn't figure out where the local time was versus UTC. It just kept moving around and I got lost.
Yeah, yeah. So he was talking about on the spreadsheet. I did the same thing. The scrolling around was a little challenging because one of the rows was local time, the other row was UTC, and then there was an indicator of, well, this was yesterday or tomorrow, and it did make it a little confusing. So we'll try to find a way, and that's because it did cover such a long time frame for when the hours the fair wasn't running. I think the one for when the fair is running, that one was pretty straightforward because there was only so many columns for the hours. The other one was a lot bigger and the scrolling was a little crazy. Yep, fully acknowledge.
Some of our participants had never had the experience of logging before. So this was a great learning experience for them. And fortunately, we even had a free logging program that just been described in QST magazine, which was the Ham2K portable logger. And it downloads on your Android and on your iPhone, and very intuitive. So that was a great experience. And of course, people had to get used to using UTC instead of local time. That's but it worked. It worked, and we all worked together as a team. I am tremendously indebted here to Jay, to James, and to everyone on their team that made this work. And I am more than satisfied that this was an absolute success. I know we can always improve. There's nothing wrong with improvement, but this is awesome. And I think we're going to have a tremendous hook now into the public to push amateur radio, more participation among the general public. And this is awesome. Thank you so much for everyone who did participate in this. Okay. Any other comments about this presentation?
I have a comment.
Yes.
You're online?
Yes, Osatama.
Yeah,
Is it
on our
Osatama?
last net with the Lodi
Okay.
Amateur Radio Club, the guys that attended the fair
We're
had
having
really
a
good
little.
feedback
Mhm.
and enjoyed the booth.
Okay, yeah, we're having some internet problems here, but you said you stopped by and you enjoyed visiting the booth. Thank you very much, Osatama. Okay, let's go back here to the agenda here. We have a few more things to take care of. And let me just bring up the agenda here so I know I don't miss. Okay. We have time for show and tell. And in the meantime, want to make sure everyone here has one of the door prize tickets. We did, I didn't particularly mention it, but all who participated in the fair exhibit and also as volunteer operators from home to activate K6C will be receiving a certificate of appreciation for that. That'll be coming in the mail. Anybody with a show and tell? I think we do have some show and tell here. Oh, okay. Let me give you a microphone. So
one of the things you run into in amateur radio is you're required to have accurate frequency. And of course, the other thing you run into is you have instruments that you try to use and you want to make sure that they're somewhat accurate. So what I brought today is a genuine GPS frequency standard. It generates a 10 megahertz signal that is exactly 10 megahertz. And you can use that with many rigs to make sure that you're properly calibrated. And the other thing I brought is a multimeter standard. And for example, it's got a 5-volt reference, and this came out of a calibration laboratory that's 5.0000 volts, along with some precision resistors and stuff. And to demonstrate how well this thing works, I have the infamous Harbor Freight free multimeter. And believe it or not, the voltmeter on this thing is incredibly accurate. The ohm meter is not quite so generous, but you can come over here and play with it, and you can see that, you know, when as a ham radio person, you can get some pretty darn accurate standards to make your stuff work well. And the other thing I did bring is for our field day system, we set up a spider beam. And our spider beam's good on 10, 15, and 20. And we have a triplexer that allows us to run one antenna, 3 rigs simultaneous off the one antenna. So I can show you what this thing looks like. You might get a kick out of it. So, yeah, hex beam. So whoever wants to come by, I'll show you this stuff and answer any questions that I might.
Thank you. And this is the, that's the frequency reference there. Oh, the multimeter. Very good. Oh, that's the frequency is that a Bodnar? It looks like a Bodnar. A Leo Bodnar GPS discipline oscillator frequency reference, and there is the triplexer. Thank you so much. Okay, any other show and tell? No? Okay, I think it's time for our door prize. And the door prizes we have today are an ICOM ICV80. This is a 2-meter handheld. We have a coil of RG8X. I don't know how many feet this is. I think it's, what, 50 feet? 50 feet of RG8X. We have a Nano VNA, which is a vector network analyzer that we're going to be having a tutorial workshop next month. And this works very well for analyzing your antennas and your coaxial cables and filters. It's an amazing little invention. And this here is a tiny spectrum analyzer. Yes, the tiny spectrum analyzer, which is also an amazing little machine that you can use to show the purity of your transmitters. It'll demonstrate if you have any spurious emissions, and you can just stick a little antenna on it and see where there's any RF coming in from anywhere around, like if you have bugs in your house or something. It's a tremendous little wide bandwidth receiver with a spectrum scope on it there. And it also works as a signal generator. How many gigahertz does this go up to? I think it goes to at least 2 gigahertz, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so it's time now to have somebody to pick a number.
Five, 6, 0, 2.
602 is the last 3. Awesome, it's Wilson. Anything of these 4? No, congratulations. No excuse not to be heard. There you go, nice clear signal. Okay, this is the camera. I just wanted to say that I think this concludes the event for tonight, and I want to thank everybody who attended and everybody here on the Zoom as well. And hope you all have a safe trip home. And look for you on the net tomorrow. Okay. You all take care. And 73.